Chosen one, you passed an invisible test without even trying. You definitely win. This may sound unbelievable, but there are times in your life when you are being tested without even knowing it. No warning, no heads up, no instructions, just life-throwing situations at you like a silent observer behind the curtain, watching to see how you'll react. And guess what? You passed. Not by force, not by pretending, not by acting, but by simply being you. You didn't have to rehearse for this moment because your heart was already in alignment with something greater, something higher, something divine. That's how you won, by staying true to who you are when no one was looking. Before we go further, stay with this video until the very end. There is something magnetic about your energy today, something cosmic that has drawn you here for a reason. Drop your warmest wishes and a powerful 777 in the comments to energize the universe. This is your moment to align with what you've been asking for. Something big is unfolding. Wishes are coming true, and not by accident, but by divine design. Now chosen, one like this. Video subscribe if you haven't subscribed to the channel, and let's begin. What you may not know is that the greatest evaluations don't happen in front of an audience. They don't take place on a stage or in moments of celebration. The real tests happen in quiet rooms, behind closed doors, in your thoughts, in your patience, in how you treat people who can do nothing for you, and every single time without even trying, you chose compassion over ego, grace over anger, humility over recognition. You didn't know it, but heaven was watching, and the results are in. You passed. There's something extraordinary about how you move in this world, while others seek recognition. You seek peace, while others chase the spotlight. You remain rooted in truth. And it is that very truth that shielded you when things didn't make sense, even when your name was slandered, even when the doors didn't open, even when the people you helped turned their backs on you. You stayed grounded. You stayed faithful. That was the test. And you passed with flying colours. The divine realm doesn't always test your strength in times of chaos. Sometimes it tests your endurance. In seasons of silence, you were placed in environments that didn't honour you, but still you served. You were placed in relationships that didn't see your value, but still you loved. You showed up when you felt unseen. You gave when your hands were empty. You stood tall when everything tried to push you down. That was the test, and you didn't even realise you were in it. That's how naturally divine you are. There were times you felt like giving up. You didn't understand why everything felt so heavy. You questioned your purpose. You cried in secret. You kept going. Not because you were strong, but because something in you refused to let the darkness win. That was your soul, remembering its divine assignment. That was your spirit, aligning with the truth. You didn't need to announce your goodness, your actions testified for you. That's why you're about to be blessed in ways that even your prayers didn't imagine. You weren't chosen for the easy path, you were chosen for the divine one. That's why your battles felt so personal. That's why your trials felt so endless. That's why you were tested when no one else around you seemed to be, because your calling is different. Your anointing is heavier. Your reward will be far greater. The test was necessary not to expose your weakness, but to reveal your power. You've been living in what felt like a delay, but it wasn't a delay. It was divine observation. Heaven wanted to see how you would handle the assignment without applause. Would you still love when it was hard? Would you still believe when nothing was changing? Would you still give when no one gave back? You didn't just pass. You exceeded expectations, and now the rewards are being released with your name written all over them. With God's blessings, you are invited to bless this message by giving a divine gift of $20 or more through the Super Thanks button on YouTube together. Let's spread faith, hope, and love, bringing light not just into your own life, but also to those who need it most. Your generosity becomes a seed of inspiration and healing for countless souls. There is a shift happening in your favour. It's not loud, it's not dramatic, but it is unstoppable. Doors are beginning to creak open that were once sealed shut. People who ignored you are being stirred in their spirit about you. Opportunities are finding you without your effort. Why? Because you passed an invisible test that most people would have failed. You didn't complain, you didn't retaliate, you didn't seek revenge. You simply grew in silence. That's powerful, that's rare, that's divine. The universe responds to integrity, not intention, and your integrity has echoed in realms you can't see. You weren't trying to prove anything. You weren't seeking validation. You just wanted peace. You wanted alignment. You wanted to live in truth, and truth has a strange way of always circling back to bless the one who honors it. So get ready. Chosen one. The heavens are preparing something that matches your level of silent faithfulness. Everything you thought was going unnoticed. The small acts of kindness, the sacrifices, the prayers whispered in private, the tears you wiped away when no one checked on you. All of it has been accounted for. Nothing was wasted. Nothing was ignored. Every step, every challenge, every moment was logged by the divine, and now the ledger of your life is shifting. The rewards are outweighing the trials. The blessings are overtaking the burdens. The win is already yours. There were spiritual observers surrounding you during your hardest moments. Forces you couldn't see were examining your every choice, your every pause, your every act of compassion. They weren't looking for perfection. They were looking for alignment, and they found it in you. That's why you're being promoted in the spirit realm. That's why things are about to fall into place at a pace that shocks everyone around you. You don't need to fight for the reward. It's already on its way. You don't need to beg for recognition. The light will find you. You don't need to hustle to be seen. Your heart already speaks louder than your presence ever could. That's why your name is being mentioned in rooms you haven't entered yet. That's why wealth is circling your energy. That's why divine help is en route. You passed the hardest test of all remaining true when it was easier to fold, and now as everything unfolds in front of you. Don't be surprised when favor finds you in unfamiliar places. Don't be shocked when things start working out with little to no effort. This isn't random, it's reward. This isn't coincidence. It's confirmation you're being ushered into a season of divine celebration. Not because you asked for it, but because you earned it without even knowing it. You've been winning in silence now. It's time for your victory to speak loudly. The old you was tested, the humble you, the forgotten you, the faithful you. That version of you that kept showing up without applause, that version just unlocked a realm of blessings, is so pure, so powerful, so permanent, it's going to rewrite your entire story. So take a breath. You don't have to prove yourself anymore. Heaven already gave its approval. And that's the only validation you'll ever need. You made it, and you didn't even realize you were walking through fire because the flame couldn't burn you. It was only purifying you. What was meant to break you built you. What was meant to shake you strengthened you. What was designed to block you blessed you. That's divine reversal. That's spiritual reward. That's what happens when the chosen one silently passes the test without even realizing they were being watched. And it's only just beginning. You've always wondered why you had to go through things that didn't make sense. Why the battles came one after another, especially when you were just trying to live, right, do good, and love deeply. But the truth is, your journey has been a hidden curriculum of the soul while others were being taught in visible ways. You were being trained through silence, patience, and spiritual weightlifting. And you didn't even know it. Your character was being chiseled in the shadows. Your spirit was being refined while you were misunderstood. You weren't being punished. You were being prepared for more, for greatness, for leadership. You were being cultivated to handle what most people would collapse under. And that's why what's coming to you will feel like a harvest that you didn't plant in this season, because you planted in previous seasons with tears, prayers, and unwavering faith. This wasn't just an ordinary test. It was a test of your frequency. The universe, heaven, and divine law were watching to see if you'd keep your heart pure. Even when things got messy, And you did. You could have chosen bitterness. But you chose healing. You could have chosen vengeance. But you chose growth. That's rare, that's powerful, that's worthy of divine reward. And now the invisible realm is aligning to deliver everything you silently earned. Every challenge was like a coded question in an exam, only you could take because only you had the soul prepared for it. You were not being tested to be broken. You were being tested to be crowned. It's a silent initiation, a sacred passage. And now you're not the same version of yourself that entered the fire. You are wiser. You are sharper. You are divinely tuned. You've unlocked a level of grace that cannot be bought or taught. It can only be lived. The invisible test wasn't about what you said. It was about what you didn't say. When you had the right to, it wasn't about what you gave. When you had extra, it was about what you gave. When you barely had anything left, it wasn't about how you acted. When you were seen, it was about what you chose when no one was clapping. And the choices you made, though unseen by people, were recorded by heaven. You earned something eternal. There's a divine celebration happening for you in the spirit realm. A recognition, not of your perfection, but of your consistency. You kept going when the weight felt unbearable. You kept hoping when reality laughed in your face. You kept being kind when the world was cruel. That's spiritual strength, that's unshakable faith. And now the rewards that have been waiting for the divine yes are being released. You are cleared for your blessing. You are approved for your breakthrough. You've got to understand something. No test goes without a result. No examination happens without a grade. And while people may have tried to grade you with their opinions, heaven stamped you with excellence. Your record in the invisible realm is untouchable. You've been promoted in silence, and now you're about to be publicly elevated. You're about to be placed in positions you didn't apply for. You're about to receive favor you didn't chase. You're about to inherit things that were preserved with your name on them. This test you passed is why things are going to start moving fast, swift. Elevation, sudden favor, instant alignment. Don't be surprised when the very things you used to strive for start showing up at your doorstep without effort. Don't question it. Don't doubt it. Just receive it. It's not luck, it's legacy, it's not magic, it's manifestation. You've stepped into the reward phase of your spiritual assignment, and here's the beauty of it. You won without performing. You won without pretending you won, without needing to impress anyone. That's the kind of victory that lasts. That's the kind of win no one can take from you. You passed a test that exposed your true nature, and your nature was divine all along. You were chosen for a reason designed for this journey, and now your true timeline is being activated. This isn't a random shift. This is prophetic fulfillment. What was written about you in divine code is now becoming reality. You're about to walk into places your past tried to disqualify you from. You're about to receive blessings that override every rejection. You're about to see proof that all the pain had a purpose, the delays had a direction, the silence had a sound, and now you'll hear it loud and clear, abundance calling your name. What looked like spiritual warfare was actually spiritual preparation. The enemy wasn't fighting your past, it was terrified of your future. And now that future has arrived, you didn't quit even when quitting would have made sense. You didn't turn cold even when life was unkind. You kept your light. And now the universe is ready to illuminate your path in ways so powerful, so undeniable, it will rewrite your legacy. The people who counted you out are about to see that the one they overlooked was the one heaven crowned. The situations that tried to bury you are about to witness your resurrection. The pain that tried to define you is about to be overshadowed by the joy that's headed your way. You didn't even realize you were passing one of the greatest tests of your life, but you did, and now everything changes. You are not waiting anymore. You are walking into. You are not hoping anymore. You are harvesting. You are not seeking validation. You are standing in fulfillment. Everything you once felt was delayed is now arriving on divine time. And the best part, you'll know deep in your spirit that it's not because you manipulated your way into it. It's because you aligned. Get ready to receive messages, signs, confirmations, and doors that prove the test has ended. The silence is lifting, the pressure is releasing, the blessing is unfolding, and you chosen one are stepping into your ultimate reward. Not because you forced it, but because you faithfully endured the invisible. This isn't the end of your story, it's the activation of your next level. You've been cleared to rise. You've been marked to receive. You've been proven without needing to prove anything. And now the world is about to see what happens when a chosen one silently wins the test. Only heaven knew they were taking. You may not see it yet, but the invisible scoreboard has already recorded your win while the world measured your success by numbers, by followers, by visible accomplishments. Heaven looked at your choices, your resilience, your heart, and it is from that place, the unseen, the unshaken, the unbreakable within you, that your greatest blessings are now emerging. You are being rewarded not for how loud you were during the test, but for how still your spirit remained when everything tried to shake it, for how focused your mind was when chaos surrounded you, for how open your heart stayed when betrayal and disappointment knocked at your door. This was not a test of your physical strength. This was a test of your energetic alignment, and your energy passed with honor. You weren't supposed to know it was a test. That's what made it real. That's what made it divine. If you knew it was a trial, you might have changed your behavior. But because you didn't know, you responded with your authentic self, and your authenticity is what won you. Heaven's approval, your purity passed, where pride would have failed. Your humility made space for the favor that arrogance could never unlock. Now the reward is being drawn toward you with magnetic precision. You'll begin to feel things before they arrive. You'll notice signs showing up with increased intensity. You'll start to sense that something big is around the corner, and you'll be right. The atmosphere around you is shifting because your vibration has upgraded. You are no longer in the waiting room. You've entered the throne room of manifestation. This next chapter of your life will feel different, not because the world around you changes first, but because you've already changed on the inside. You've passed the final internal checkpoint, and now the external world must catch up. You'll see it in how you carry yourself, in how peace follows you into rooms, in how answers arrive before you even ask. It's because you're no longer being tested, you're being crowned. The invisible test wasn't about proving yourself to people. It was about proving to the divine that you could be trusted with power, not to dominate, but to uplift. Not to boast, but to bless, not to control, but to create. And now that your spirit has proven, it can carry that kind of light. The floodgates are opening. You've been trusted with divine access. This is why certain doors remained closed. Not because you weren't worthy, but because they weren't worthy of you. The test wasn't about fitting in, it was about standing out. The people who walked away were part of the test. The delays, the betrayals, the redirections. All of it was orchestrated to observe your response. Would you get bitter or better? Would you curse the process or trust it? And look at you. You chose growth, you chose faith, you chose patience. That's what makes you different. That's why the divine realm is choosing now to accelerate you. It's because you are now vibrating on a frequency of spiritual maturity. You've been tempered like steel and fire. You've been refined like gold through pressure. And the result is a version of you that walks in alignment. Not ego, powerfully, silent, deeply, intuitive, unshakably destined. Your name is now resonating in dimensions that operate on purpose, not popularity. The angels that once stood back to observe are now moving forward to assist what once was. Quiet is now about to echo. You've walked through the valley without a map, and now you're being shown the view from the mountain. You're not just passing into abundance, you're being escorted